Good afternoon. I'll be talking about the trigeminal nerve. This is the basic introduction, structure, and its function. So before we start, there are a few key points which you have to remember. These include some abbreviations that we will use through this. The first abbreviation is CNV, which stands for the fifth branch of cranial nerve, that is the trigeminal nerve. V1, V2 and V3 are the three branches of the trigeminal nerve, and this is a definition. You can pause the video and note it somewhere because it will be useful later on. It is about the spinal trigeminal nucleus. So the trigeminal nerve is the fifth cranial nerve and it is largest of them all. Its primary function is to provide sensory innervations to the face and is divided into three branches. First is the ophthalmic, which is referred to as V1, maxillary, which is V2, and mandibular, which is V3. These join at a These branches join at trigeminal ganglia, from where they further go into the principal sensory nucleus and are later on transferred to the midbrain, as you can see in the structure right here. Now about the functions of the three branches of trigeminal nerve. The first one that we'll be talking about is ophthalmic nerve. It is responsible for the facial innervation of the face and skull above the palpebral tissue and the eye and portions of nasal cavity. Second is maxillary. It is also a sensory branch and innervates portions of the nasal cavity, sinuses, maxillary teeth, palate, and the middle portion of the face and skull above the mouth and below the forehead. The third branch that we'll be talking about is the mandibular nerve. It is a unique branch which, as it contains both sensory as well as motile fibers, it is responsible for the innervation of all the muscles of mastication, and the sensory part provides sensory innervation of the buccal mucosa, mandibular teeth, and the skin below the mouth. Now moving on, we'll be discussing the structures of trigeminal nerve. As I had mentioned earlier, it is the largest of all cranial nerves and provides sensory and motor innervation to the muscles of mastication. It arises from the anterior lateral surface of the mid pons as a large sensory root, which is called the portio major, and a small motor root, which is portio minor. Primarily, the sensory information conducted by the nerve includes sensations like pain, change in temperature, and touch. This information is relayed through the trigeminal nuclei before traveling to the thalamus and ultimately synapsing in the somatosensory cortex. The trigeminal nerve then travels through the peripontine and cerebellopontine angle cisterns before entering a cerebrospinal fluid filled space called Meckel's cave via an opening in the dura mater referred to as porus trigeminus. Inside Meckel's cave, the trigeminal ganglion divides into three subdivisions, which are V1, V2 and V3. As you can see here, I have shown a flow chart to simplify this paragraph. So as you can see, the trigeminal nerve, it passes through cerebellopontine angle and peripontine to lead into porus trigeminus, which it then passes through to reach Meckel's cavity. That's all, and thank you.